Good afternoon. Today I'm going to review the JJRC H98. This is a intro level camera drone. It's just a small little quadcopter, kind of in the same class of size as like the Cyma X5C. You know, at least in terms of its size, it's quite a bit different looking than the Cyma X5C. But it is just a neat little quadcopter, and definitely a really good quadcopter for anybody that's just getting into drones and want something they can get some aerial video and photography, and even with sound. It actually has sound on the camera too, which is kind of cool. It's a really sporty flyer. It's got a lot of pitch whenever you are on the expert rates, but it doesn't so much in the beginners, so it's still good for beginners. It's a really neat quadcopter. It's a real quiet and smooth flyer. You know, as you increase the rates, the yaw increases with it, so you know, it goes up in increments just like you'd want for a quadcopter in a beginner class. I went ahead and put the prop guards on this because I wanted to really demonstrate what you would get if you flew it with all the equipment on it. Since this is more aimed at a beginner than an expert or an advanced, pilot. This is definitely a beginner's drone, and the price, it's around $30 or so. So it's definitely in the right price range for a beginner, especially someone who doesn't want to spend a lot of money. I'm getting about 7.5 minutes flight time, which is another big bonus. I mean, that's a pretty good flight time. And you get like a 30-second low voltage alarm, so you have plenty of time to know when it's going low. So you have plenty of time to land. As long as you can see these LEDs. Now the LEDs are orange in the front, and if you can see them here, these little bitty LED bulbs here, orange in the front and they're green in the back. But they are, inside the arms here a little ways behind the motor pods. Let me move it down so we can see it. They're not located under the motor pods, which would actually be more ideal because it can be a little hard to see those because you're being blocked by the motor pods, especially whenever you're flying, some pitch towards you at night. Of course, in the day, you're not going to see them too well, but I was able to see them on my test flight whenever I was up close. So you can see when they're flashing, and you have 30 seconds, so it's plenty of time to know that it's time to bring it down. It only weighs about 70 grams. It's super light, no worries about FAA registration or anything like that. Not only are the prop guards removable, of course that would add some more flight time because anytime you reduce weight you're going to. The camera is also removable. So you can pop this on, plug it in if you want to use it, or you can unplug it and take it off if you want to reduce the weight. Like I said, I'm getting 7.5 minutes. I think if you took the camera off and the prop guards, you're going to go way over 8 minutes. The prop guards might get you up close to 8. But if you don't need to use the video or don't want to just play longer that day, you can obviously take it off. It's easy to pop it on and off. The battery actually goes up inside of this little compartment, is where the battery slides in and out and plugs in, and then the camera just attaches to the battery bay door. The battery is a pretty standard JJRC 400 milliamp per hour, 3.7 volt, 30C, 1S LiPo. So you see these a lot with the JJRCs. It's pretty decent size at 400 milliamps. So that's another reason why this quadcopter gets a pretty good flight time, is because it's so light and you're putting that 400 milliamp battery in there. So you get a nice long run time. And I like this green too. I think it's a cool color. I think they also have it in red, and it says drone on the top, which is appealing to the drone is a pretty key word nowadays for this for quadcopters. So that's another reason why I think they had that on there. Let's see here. That battery takes about an hour and a half to charge, depending on what kind of how many amps you're using in your USB wall outlet. You can also use your computer. It comes with a little USB charger here, a little yellow one, and the battery plugs into the back of it. And it's got a few spare screws and a Phillips screwdriver, pretty standard stuff. It does only come with two spare props. So I would kind of like to see a full set of props. But that's another reason why I think if you're starting out and you put the prop guards on, that's another safety precaution, since you're only getting two spare propellers. Let's see here. Let's see, the yaw rates increase, and oh yeah, when you're filming with the camera, there'll be a little red light. There's a blue light here, and there's a little red light next to it. It'll go solid when you're recording video, and then of course it goes off, and you turn it off, and when you take a photo, it just flashes. So it just flashes each time you take a photo, which of course you can't see that up in the air. But if you want to start video, it's probably a good idea to pick it up and make sure that you are recording before you take off. The camera is adjustable tilt, so you can aim it down or up. It's probably a good idea to have it level or a little bit up, so when you're flying you're getting more of the horizon and not just filming the ground. But you can tilt it, so I like that a lot. Like I said, it's just a little SD camera, 0.3 megapixels, so it's just going to be 4:3 aspect ratio, and yeah, you can't expect a lot of a camera that size at this price range. So it's right on par with all the other cameras in this drone, this class, or the nanos, all of them in this price range. So let's go ahead and go over the controller. The controller, again, is a pretty standard JJRC type controller. It's got pitch and roll trims, or functional, but the yaw and throttle trims control your camera and your rates. The bottom one here, which would be your yaw trim typically, that goes between your 3 rates, and as you increase, it changes, like I said earlier, the yaw does increase with it, and so does the pitch and the speed, and it can get excuse me, it can get pretty sporty on the highest rate. You can get quite a bit of pitch as this thing's going. So, you know, on the highest rate, you probably want to have some experiences. I would not recommend the highest rate for a beginner. The yaw is pretty good, and it changes proportional as you go up in rates, but the yaw never does get too crazy, so you still can maintain that orientation. The throttle trim here controls your photo and video, so that's how you start and stop that. Just pressing those up and down. I think it's down for video and up for photo, but I couldn't have that backwards, but that's what controls it. The top bumpers here, the top right is to enter into 3D flips, so it beeps, and then you press the direction you want to go, and of course it flips in all directions. The top left is for 1 key return, so you want to bring it back. As you fly it out, you press that and it brings it back. It does mention that it has headless mode, but I can't find anywhere in instructions where it tells you how to activate a headless mode. I don't use headless mode, so I didn't test it in my flight, but I'm thinking you may hold it down probably until it beeps, and then it enters you into headless mode, and then you use 1 key return. I don't know if you have to be in headless mode to use 1 key return or not. Sometimes you do. Lots of times you don't need to, but some quadcopters require you're in headless mode before you use 1 key return, since it's kind of uses a similar compass for stuff. To calibrate the gyros, you're going to press the sticks down and to the right until the lights stop flashing. And I think the reset to 1 key return headless mode direction is to the down left, and it's a little, I think it's a slower flash of the lights. So it's a fast flash for the gyros and slow for the headless mode. So let's just look over here, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. I think I pretty much covered it all. Just make sure when you're putting this together that you get this battery bay door snapped good and tight, because it does hold quite well, but it can look a little flimsy. But once you get it all snapped, I've never had it come open, so because the camera is so lightweight. But just make sure you check that before you take off. You wouldn't want it to fall open. You know, it's not going to hurt it, but that would obviously mess up your recording if the battery bay door flew open. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it all. So let's go ahead and move along to the flight review. The flight review of the JJRC H98, this little intro level camera aerial video and photography drone. Just a little 0.3 megapixel standard definition camera that mounts on the bottom. Little microSD card you would put in there to that's what you put in to record your video or your photos. And just a neat little quad. It's really agile. It's rather quick. It's got a nice yaw rate. Just a really good flyer for the price. It's just, I really like it. It's a neat little quadcopter. The camera is adjustable. I've got it pointed level or maybe a little bit up, so it helps whenever you're flying that you're not, pointed to the ground. You don't want to film the ground, but if you aim it all the way up, if you're not flying you know, with a lot of pitch, then you're going to be shooting at the sky too. So finding the right camera angle is kind of important, but you definitely don't want it aiming down. So it's nice that it gives you the options to, you know, to adjust the tilt to the camera. So let's go ahead and turn it on and bind it and take it up in the air. Turn it on. You can see the orange LEDs in the front and green in the back. You know, they're not super bright. I would like to have seen them on the bottom of the motor pods to make it a little easier to see, especially at night. They're kind of hidden behind the motor pods. Let's go ahead and take it up. It's a nice quiet quad. Now I've got the prop guards on. Since it's a beginner quad, I like to give an idea of what you're going to get if you fly it that way. It only comes with 2 spare props, so it's a good idea to probably, if you are a beginner, to fly it with the prop guards, just so that you're protecting those propellers, because you're probably going to crash, and we all do. I still do. So there's a little bit of a breeze today. I'm kind of trying to stand back here. I don't want to get too much wind noise in the mic. Let's go ahead and I'm going to bring it back down here so I can start recording, so I know when to sync up the video. The video, there's a little red light will come on here next to the blue light, and it stays solid. That means you're filming. And now I'm filming, so now we can go ahead and include some flight footage in with this. Alright, now I'm on intro, or I say intro, but beginner's rate, or lowest rate, and the yaw is not too bad. So, you know, this is not too bad for filming. Let's go ahead and take it up to the intermediate rate, and it's a lot better. And you get a lot more pitch in the medium rate. This does have, I would say, almost extreme pitch in expert rate. Let's go ahead and take it up to expert rate. And show the yaw first. I'm getting a bit of a breeze here. I don't want to get it on top of the roof of my house. Let's take it out a little bit here. But the yaw is nice. I like that yaw rate on expert. Not too crazy, not too fast, so you don't lose orientation. Let's see. You can see that there's quite a bit of pitch, which is pretty cool for a sport. You know, to be sporty. So you can almost, you know, if you don't give it too much pitch there, you almost end up flying. It starts to almost lose altitude because there's so much pitch. But it flies really nice. So I'd say intermediate or expert rate are the two, you know, medium or high rates, the two best rates to fly in, unless you're a beginner. Let's do a few 3D flips. It does really, the 360 or 3D flips really nice. It's the top right bumper is what does that. I got caught in a little bit of a breeze. So there's a little breeze here from time to time today. Let's do a forward flip. So the wind's blowing around a little bit because it is not sloppy. It does flips really nice, but the breeze here at times, you know, it catches it when it's trying to flip. See, there's a better example how it does good flips. So if you like doing that, now of course it'll look kind of neat in the video seeing it flip, though I usually don't like to film 3D flips. If you're wanting to film for actual video for use, but this is more, you know, intro level, so you just want to film everything you're doing. So it's, you know, it's pretty cool then. So see it, look how nicely that recovers. I mean, when it doesn't get caught up in the breeze, because it's really light. It's about, I think it's about 80 grams if I recall right. I'm going off memory here because I weighed it. It might have been 70, but I think it was 80 grams, right around there. So it's very light, way under any kind of registration limits, you know, so you don't have to worry about any of that. So just a really good quadcopter for someone who's starting out in the aerial video, doesn't want to spend an arm and a leg on a high-end quadcopter, just wants to learn how to fly. So I think it sells for, you know, in the $30 price range. So when you compare it to like a Cyma X5C, it's pretty similar in size, and features, but you know, it's cheaper than the X5C usually runs. So this is a really nice alternative to that quadcopter. And if you're looking for something on a, you know, on a budget, and maybe for a teenager for Christmas or something, I think this is a really good option. It's sporty, it's lightweight, and I can catch it here, and you can launch it right out of your hands because it's not too powerful or dangerous. It's just a neat little quadcopter. I'm really impressed with it. I didn't know what to expect. So JJRC seems to really be doing good lately with their quadcopters. They had some problems before with some underpowered quads and such, but this one really is nice. I think you can get it in red also. I went for green. I like that color. And it's kind of funny, it says drone on the top, so it's kind of trying to get into that, you know, keyword everybody knows so much nowadays. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video, and we'll see the red light. I don't know if it'll show up in the film or not, but the red light went out, so we stopped recording. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. Neat little quadcopter, very affordable, and I highly recommend it for anybody that want to get into audio, video, you know, photography with a little drone. That's, you know, if you're on a shoestring budget, this is perfect. So, all right, well, thanks a lot for watching, and be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more videos.